There's a kind of pain that doesn't scream. It whispers, quiet and relentless. It wraps itself around the chest and squeezes until breathing feels like betrayal. This is the kind of suffering that no one sees. The kind that hides behind a forced smile, behind routine replies like, "I'm fine," and "it's nothing." But it's not nothing, is it? There are days when the world feels too heavy, and every step forward feels like dragging chains. Not because weakness has won, but because the heart is tired of carrying wounds no one else can see. Behind every calm expression might be a battlefield, one of broken hopes, silent tears, and invisible scars etched into the spirit. And yet, no one notices. Because, in this world, pain that isn't loud enough gets ignored. Struggles that don't bleed go unseen. Everyone applauds the comeback story, but no one stays to watch the long nights that came before it. The sleepless hours, the clenched fists, the quiet screams into pillows. That part doesn't trend. That part doesn't shine. But make no mistake, that is where warriors are made. Not in the spotlight. Not on the podium. But in silence. When no one is watching. When there's no one to cheer. And the only one left to believe is the self. That's where the real battle begins. Not against the world, but against the voice that whispers, "Give up." And if you're hearing that voice now, good, because that means the fight is still on. It means you're still here, still breathing, still able to rise, no matter how shattered the pieces may be. There's power in enduring the storm without ever crying out for pity. Strength in walking alone, not because it's easy, but because the alternative is surrender. And surrender is not an option. No, this isn't just struggle. It's proof of survival, proof of fire, proof that something deep inside refuses to break, refuses to be extinguished, even when everything else is falling apart. So if you're tired, if you're hurting, if you're carrying a weight that no one else can see, listen closely. This silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're enduring what most people would have crumbled under. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you rare. That makes you unstoppable. Pain doesn't always explode like thunder. Sometimes it seeps in like fog, slow, cold, and suffocating. And no one teaches how to carry that kind of pain. No one hands out manuals for heartbreak that cracks not the skin, but the soul. There's no instruction for what to do when dreams shatter like glass. When trust turns to ash. When the very ground beneath your feet gives out and there's nothing to hold on to but the freefall. This is the kind of pain that comes in waves, uninvited. It hits hardest in quiet moments, in the pause before sleep, in the silence between messages, in the spaces where laughter used to live. It doesn't ask for permission. It carves its name into the bones and expects you to live with it. And somehow, you do. But let's not sugarcoat it. Some days, just existing feels like a war. Getting out of bed becomes an act of defiance. Looking in the mirror becomes a challenge. There's no fire left, just embers. But even those hurt to hold. And still, you hold them. Because the world doesn't stop. The bills don't wait. The people around you expect you to function like you're not coming apart at the seams. Maybe no one saw it when your heart broke. Maybe no one noticed when you fell apart. But you did. You felt every second. You lived through every ache, every ounce of bitterness, every lie you told yourself just to survive. I'm okay. It doesn't hurt anymore. I'm over it. Lies, told not to deceive others, but to protect what's left of the pieces. But here's the truth. Hurting doesn't make you weak. acknowledging it, truly feeling it. That's not weakness. That's strength few dare to embrace, because most people run. Most people bury it, numb it, drink it away, laugh it off, fake something pretty for the world to see. But not you. You felt it. You faced it. You're still here, and that pain, however deep, didn't erase you. So let it hurt. Let it sting. Let it break the silence, because only what's acknowledged can be overcome. Pain is not the enemy. Denial is. Numbness is. Running is. But you're not running. And that means you're getting ready to rise. There comes a moment, quiet, bitter, and brutally clear, when everything just stops. Not the world, not time, just you. A moment where nothing makes sense anymore, and the strength once faked so convincingly runs out without warning. There's no epic music, no grand collapse. Just silence. A kind that fills the room, crawls under the skin, and makes every breath feel like a question you don't have the will to answer. That's rock bottom. Not always loud, not always visible. Sometimes it's just the emptiness. The moment you stare at the ceiling and wonder how it came to this. When the body keeps moving, but the soul lags behind, lost somewhere in the wreckage. You eat, but you don't taste. You sleep, but you don't rest. You smile, but it doesn't reach your eyes. It's not about losing everything on the outside. Sometimes the real fall happens when the fire inside flickers and dies, when hope stops speaking, and all you're left with is the echo of your own thoughts, and they aren't kind. No one talks about this part. The hollow, the number, the apathy that creeps in after the storm has done its damage. Not because it's over, but because there's nothing left to break. No more fight. No more voice. Just the cold realization that this might be it. That maybe you've reached the bottom of who you are. And yet, even in that depth, even when the heart is dust and the will is gone, something tiny stirs. It's not strength. It's not clarity. It's barely anything at all. But it's there. A flicker. A breath. A refusal so quiet it could be missed. Not the kind that screams, "I'll win." Not yet. Just the kind that whispers, "Not like this." Because in that moment, in that rock-bottom silence, the truth becomes unavoidable. If everything is already broken, then there's nothing left to lose. And maybe, just maybe, that means there's finally space to rebuild. Not who you were, but something different. Something forged, not born. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the point where the story stops pretending and starts becoming real. And if this is where you are, then this is where it begins. It doesn't begin with a roar, not with resolve, not with some grand revelation. It begins smaller than that, quieter, a whisper in the wreckage. After the fall, after the silence, after the soul has been scraped raw, there's a pause, a fragile stillness. Not peace, not clarity, just space. The kind that follows complete collapse. The kind that echoes with the absence of everything once believed to be unshakable. And then, in that space, something flickers. Not hope. Hope feels too clean, too soft. This is something else. Something rough, primitive. Refusal. A sharp breath drawn not because of willpower, but because the body isn't ready to die yet. A clenched jaw, a twitch in the fingers. A thought so quiet it almost goes unnoticed. Not like this. That's it. Not a battle cry. Not a plan. Just that. Not like this. Because somewhere deep beneath the exhaustion and the scars, the fire didn't die. It just went dormant. Buried beneath the weight of the world. But embers, even cold, don't forget how to burn. And it only takes one spark. One moment of raw defiance. 1 second of saying, If I'm still breathing, then I'm not done. Not yet. This is the shift. The moment the fall stops being a destination and starts becoming fuel. When the pain no longer defines the story but shapes it. The moment the question changes from why me to what now. No one sees this part. No one hears it. But it's the most important moment in the whole journey. Because this is where it turns. Not with triumph, not with revenge, not with resolution. Just with the decision to move. An inch. A heartbeat. A step. Not forward, not upward. Just not staying down. That spark, it's rebellion. Against the darkness. Against the doubt. Against everything that said, you're finished. Because you're not. The fall was real. The pain was real. The silence was real. But so is this flicker in the chest that refuses to go out. And if that flicker is alive, then so are you. Rising isn't glorious. It's not some slow-motion montage set to inspiring music. It's ugly. It's quiet. It hurts. There's no audience, no standing ovation. Just the sound of your own heartbeat in your ears as you force yourself to move. 1 inch, 1 breath, 1 half step forward while everything in your body screams to go back to the ground where it was. Easier. But easy was killing you. So you climb, not with strength, but with spite, with stubbornness, with nothing left to prove to anyone but that voice inside that keeps saying, stay down. And still, you move. Not because you're healed, not because you're ready, but because not moving means dying with your eyes open, and that's no longer an option. Some days, the climb looks like showing up. Some days it looks like not quitting. Some days it's just getting out of bed, when every muscle feels made of stone, and every thought is a war zone. It's not about leaping to the top. There's no skipping steps here. Every inch is earned in silence, carved through sweat, tears, and sheer unwillingness to give in. You'll bleed. You'll break. You'll fall again, more than once. And every time you hit the dirt, something inside will whisper, see? You're not built for this. But that voice is wrong. Because what matters isn't how many times you fall. It's what you do after. And the truth is, most people never even try. They fold at the first crack. They want the peak without enduring the climb. But not you. You're still moving. Still pushing, even when there's no finish line in sight. Even when no one sees you. Even when the only thing keeping you upright is the raw decision to not let this story end in surrender. That is what makes this climb different. Not the pace, not the style, but the choice to continue when no one would blame you for quitting. Because glory isn't found in the spotlight. It's forged in the shadows, in the quiet battles no one sees. In the mornings you rise without fanfare, and the nights you survive without applause. This is where strength is born. Not in victory, but in the refusal to stop trying. There comes a point when the pain doesn't own you anymore. It's still there, etched into the bones, carved into memory. But it no longer defines who you are. It becomes part of the story, not the end of it. The weight's still heavy, but you're stronger now. And not in the polished, picture-perfect way people like to sell. No. This strength, it's earned, calloused, and unspeakably real. Because after everything, you're still here. And that means something. That means everything. You were broken. Yes, torn open, burned down to the raw, trembling core of who you are. But you were never defeated. That's the part they don't understand. The difference between being broken and being beaten. Anyone can break. Life makes sure of that. But not everyone gets back up. Not everyone chooses to. That choice, every time, every step, is what builds the mindset that no one can take from you. A mindset that doesn't need noise, validation, or permission. One that says, I don't quit. I don't beg. I may bleed, but I do not bow. That's not arrogance. That's survival. That's becoming something sharper than steel. Because steel is forged in fire. And you lived through hell. And you didn't just walk out, you refused to be consumed. There's power in that. In not letting the world define your worth. In realizing that scars aren't shameful. They're proof of endurance, of war, of the fact that you were tested and you're still standing. So no, it's not about being fearless. It's about fighting despite the fear. It's about standing back up even when no one believed you could. It's about becoming your own reason to rise. That's the mindset. Not that life won't hurt again, but that nothing it throws will ever be enough to end you. You've already faced the worst of it, and yet, here you are. Not perfect, not untouched, but unbroken where it matters. That's what undefeated looks like. Not spotless, not invincible, just relentless. If you're still struggling, still hurting, still stuck somewhere between holding on and letting go, then listen. Don't look away. Don't scroll past. Just hear this. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not broken because the weight still sits heavy on your chest. You are not less because you haven't figured it all out yet. You are still here. And that is everything. They won't understand what it costs just to survive some days. The quiet wars, the silent tears, the way you carry the world like it owes you nothing and takes everything anyway. But hear this, just once, loud and clear. You are not done. Maybe the fire's dim. Maybe all you've got left is smoke and a heartbeat. But even that is enough to start something. Even that is enough to rise. It doesn't matter how slow it feels. It doesn't matter if no one notices. Every inch forward is war won. Every breath is proof that life hasn't beaten you yet. You don't need to roar to be powerful. You don't need to shine to be seen. You don't need to have all the answers, just the courage to keep asking the questions. So if today feels impossible, then make it to the next breath. If everything hurts, then let it hurt. But don't let it make you forget what you are. Fierce, unfinished, unyielding. There will come a day when you'll look back and realize you made it through things that should have destroyed you. And when that day comes, you'll understand you weren't weak. You were undefeated. So rise, even if it's just a little, even if no one sees, even if your hands are shaking and your chest is tight and the tears don't stop. Rise anyway. This world doesn't need another perfect story. It needs the real ones, the ones with cracks, with fire, with teeth, the ones like you.